Hi there everyone, it is currently the evening of the 13th of October 2011. Once again, thank you for tuning in here to westernpacificweather.com as we look across the Western Pacific today. Though two areas do stand out to note. First here is our tropical depression Banyan over Ramon being called Babagasa. Currently winds out of this about 30 gusting up to 40 knots, while we also have a deep area of low pressure here moving out here across northern China into parts of Russia, and then by actually tomorrow evening and into this weekend, this is going to be bringing some heavy rain showers here across Japan as well. But first, let's dive into our tropical depression down here towards the south. And also, I do want to note, starting today and then into my future updates, I'm going to be using a new feature here. Now, this is just a marker. Actually, I'm going to use to point out stuff. For example, here's the tropical depression down in this location, and now I'm going to point out specific features on these maps to give you a clear indication instead of just a cursor and the circle around it. But let's dive into a little bit more on our tropical depression. But as already noted, it already has winds of 30 gusting up to 40 knots. It's expected to strengthen slightly actually here as it moves off towards the west into a little bit more favorable environment out in that region for development with this system, and also has an extensive amount of inflow going into it. If you see all these clouds down here towards the southwest, well, that's bringing a lot of moisture. It's pumping it up here towards the northeast, and also you have a little inflow coming in here from the Philippine Sea. All these areas have temperatures in excess of about 30 degrees Celsius, so that's going to be very conducive for development out here. And actually, if we look at the sea surface temperatures chart out here, you can see that all across this region you have temperatures in excess about 29 up to 30 degrees Celsius. But as the storm tracks off here towards the west, towards Hanoi in Vietnam, a rapid decrease down to about 25 to 26 is located out here just off the coast of Vietnam, and that is going to cause the storm to weaken, take away from some of that latent heat that's being fed into the system, and allow it to weaken even more so as it moves onshore or out here across Vietnam, which would be very good news for that region that has suffered from 3 consecutive tropical systems here in the last 3 weeks. But here looking at the 85 gigahertz microwave imagery, just showing some of these very high cloud tops out here off the coast of the Philippines, actually indicated here in some of these greens and reds. That's those very heavy amount of precipitations, and what's really good about this, most of that is offshore, but you're still having some good flow coming around the system. That's why I zoomed it in so close, is that you can see some of this banding wrapping around the storm, and that's why a lot of the agencies continue to expect this to redevelop up into a weak tropical storm. But good news, most of the moisture already is moving off the Philippines at this time. You still have some convective bandings out here, actually putting right in here, indicated in this really bright white is actually still some heavy rain bands located out there across southern Luzon. And actually Manila metro area, the airport out there, was reporting about 80 millimeters of rainfall in the past 24 hours, while actually down farther towards the south, Visayas, some places in Visayas reporting upwards of 300 millimeters of rainfall. So really an extensive amount of rain being reported out there, actually upwards of 9 deaths now being recorded as well, with 2 people still missing out here in the Visayas region. So very sad news continues to come out of the region. Hopefully we don't get any more reports out of there, and those 2 people that are still missing will be found. But where is this storm going to be going? Well, that's really the question everybody wants to know. Well, looking at this surface analysis right now coming from the Thai Meteorological Society, expecting it to track off towards the west following this trough of low pressure, or the monsoonal trough that extends from Vietnam out towards the Bay of Bengal. Really, as I've stated in the past, tropical systems are like water. They want to run downhill towards lower pressure. It's not going to actually recurve likely here towards the north, up here towards the high pressure that lingers from this area up here over Japan and extending off towards the Asiatic high. One factor that does play into this though is there's a very strong area of low pressure, as noted at the beginning of this update, that's over the eastern China right now, and as you can see right in here in this little dip right there, that's actually a trough. So that's going to cause this storm to track a little bit farther towards the north, but as that moves off towards the east, this high pressure is going to set back in and buffet that and keep it down here towards the south, likely making a landfall along the southern coast of Hanoi off towards Vietnam. And if we look at the streamline analysis, this confirms up with that thought process here, just showing the overall background flow, likely going to take this low pressure off towards the north, but you see this little curving up here, expecting that to actually move off towards the east as a high pressure buffets back in. The storm likely will follow this line right here that kind of moves it off here towards southern Hanoi and out here south of Hue, Vietnam. But really the main problem with this system is going to be the extensive amount of rain showers that it's going to be taken with it, because expecting to start to decrease in intensity before that landfall by this weekend. And if we look at the model consensus, most of them are in line with JTWC's forecast. That's a Joint Typhoon Warning Center here indicating indicated here in black. But the two models I really like to use the most, No Gaps and GFS, really kind of align with that track just south of a 9. You still have a few outliers here. Actually, the JAVI and the AVN still taking up here towards the north, expecting a little more influence from that area of low pressure over eastern China, but likely it's going to stay south of that northerly track and come off here towards Vietnam, where it makes that landfall by this weekend. And with all that said, here's a look at JTWC's forecast. I'm looking at a max intensity of about 40, gusting up to 50 knots, with that track just south of Hanoi here on the 16th, before it moves on shore just north of Hue, Vietnam, south of Hanoi, by the 17th into the 18th, or about Saturday into Sunday this weekend, as it's going to be bringing an extensive amount of rain showers out here, not only to Vietnam, but likely going to move on here towards Laos, and parts of Thailand could be seeing some heavy rain showers from this storm. So we're definitely going to continue to watch this as it moves away from the Philippines into the South China Sea and then on to Indochina here, bringing those extensive rain showers. But moving away from that tropical depression and up here towards the north, I want to talk about the weather up here. Is that we're starting to see that transition season into fall and then eventually winter out here, and that's going to start off with these strong lows. Actually, this low about 1,009 millibars located over eastern China here, moving off towards Russia and then into Japan by the weekend. And also you could see some snow showers actually up here in Hokkaido as well Saturday evening and into Sunday due to that ocean effect that's going to be coming in behind the storm, bringing that cold air out of Russia and moving it across the Sea of Japan and dumping basically the precipitation that's going to form from that out here across Sapporo. Really notorious actually up there for their heavy snow showers. So we would definitely keep a close eye on this low up here as that develops. And also down here towards the south, we still have our tropical depression Ramon here, or Banyan, is continuing to move across the South China Sea. But that is all for right now, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, as always, please post them in the comment box below. And as always, stay safe out there, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Bye.